Welcome to the Travelman Podcast. My name is Ben and I host this cool travel podcast. If you're joining me for the first time, then thanks a bunch for listening. On today's episode, I'll be chatting to Chris Curran again and we'll be talking about Colorado, part 2 of our Colorado Day Trips episode. So I'll suggest if you haven't listened to part 1, then listen to that first, then come back and listen to part 2. Because things might not make any sense at all. Thanks for listening. What are some other places outside of places where sheep lick cars for salt?
Well, I'll tell you. Black Canyon, which I believe is a national park or a state park, but it's called Black Canyon, and it is like, all right, everybody knows the Grand Canyon, and that's the deepest and largest canyon in the United States. Black Canyon is number 2. It's the second biggest and the second deepest canyon, but it's so awesome because it has, like, when you go to this one lookout across the way, along the rock face, it's almost like a design, like a painting or something. It's hard to explain, but it kind of looks like a dragon. I mean, you got to use your imagination. It's not really a dragon, but it's just because of the color of the rocks in that cliff. And then when the sun sets there, it's I don't know. We've been there a couple times. We even brought my parents there when they visited, and Black Canyon is just awesome.
So it's pretty accessible then. If you brought your parents there and you're able to walk around, you can get there pretty easily.
Yeah, it's it's just like in the middle of Colorado. And then you're just driving and then, and you go into a park and then there's like a loop. So you just drive around the loop and every half mile or mile or so you stop at a little place where you could stop, and then there's like lookouts and stuff. So it's really easy. Wow. It's really cool.
And the colors of the rocks, is that obviously all natural? Or was there American Indians that were in that area as well that maybe did some art and so forth?
No, it's natural. It's so big.
Okay.
I mean, it's a 2,000-foot tall wall of rock.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like an Indian design. It's nothing like that. It's just the color in the rock. I don't know. I think they said it was because when the rock was formed, like it was part rock that was already there, but then it was like a molten rock, like a
volcanic.
Yeah, like volcanic rock, and that mixed and it made that design or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And can you rock climb off that 2,000-foot face?
I don't know. But they're on the one side where you can visit, or where the park is, you can. There's a couple places where you can climb down a little, not far, but yeah, and there's a river, obviously a river flowing down below that, and there's some history there where when they were exploring that canyon. I don't know. All I remember is that what the guys who were exploring the canyon, because the river runs through the bottom of the canyon, and it's really loud because it just echoes off all the walls. And so, I think they were down there for like a couple days, and like I think a couple of the workers, they like literally started going crazy because it was just like constant loud sound of the river. And I don't know, as an audio guy, I was trying to think about how that would be, and that would probably bother me too. It's like, you just want silence, but if you're down there camping for a couple days, they were surveying the place. I think they were thinking about putting not a railroad, or they were thinking about doing something, so they were surveying the place. And anyway, that's one of the stories.
Just imagine taking an audio grab of that river, say if you wanted that in, like a story that you're doing, an audio story. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, nature sounds are great. One of the things I want to do with my life when I grow up is I want to actually go out into nature and record nature. The problem I always have is airplanes.
Oh, you don't like flying?
Well, no, no, it's like when I'm recording, I'll find like this little quaint babbling brook, really peaceful. The wind is blowing, and I'm like, I'll set up my recorder. Let me record an hour of that, right? And just use it somewhere. but as soon as you press record, and jet planes above, and it's
yeah. You've had bad luck with jet planes.
The planes are far away, and even though the sound's not loud, it's just mixed in there with the little gurgling river, and it's terrible. So you can't use it. I don't like it anyway.
Damn. Why is there a flight path over every gurgling river that you locate yourself at?
Well, that's what I was thinking. So my ultimate plan, once I get rich or something, I'm going to go to Alaska
and divert all the planes.
Yeah, well, no, but first thing, Alaska is so big that I'm sure there's a lot of places where planes never even fly over. So.
Oh, absolutely. Alaska's nearly the same size as mainland America, USA.
It's about half the size, yeah.
Oh, is it half?
Yeah, well, which is still unbelievable. Well, is it half or a third? It's still incredibly huge, yeah.
Okay, all right. So Chris is one day going to live in Alaska by himself recording audio. That's going to be cool.
That's right.
His wife.
Then no one will care. No one will hear it.
Meditating.
Yeah.
That would be gorgeous.
Podcasting.
Yeah. Hey, so you mentioned Black Canyon. That sounds amazing place to go to if you're in Colorado. What are some other cool places to check out?
Yeah, Grand Mesa is a really cool place. It's in central Colorado, but all the way to the west. So, almost all the way. So it's right near where Colorado meets Utah. And Grand Mesa is so cool. So first of all, Mesa, the word Mesa in Spanish means table.
Table, gotcha.
And so in nature, what they call a mesa is like, we've all seen them. It's almost like, it's like a mountain. It's like a really huge mountain that got the whole top chopped off, so it's like flat on top. So it's almost like a plateau.
Got a flat top.
It's a flat top, and Grand Mesa is one of the biggest mesas in the country, if not the biggest. And so, like, you go up onto the mesa, and you go up, from the bottom to the top is thousands of feet. I don't know if it's 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000. But when you get up there, there's all these trees. It's like a whole nother world. And it's so cool. They have campsites. You can camp there. And it's just, again, I think it's also like a national park. So it's all preserved. And it's just amazing, the nature that was up there. And like, we went there, we drove through and kind of looked at some things. But like me and my wife really decided that we need to go back there and explore more. Because it's not like a small mesa. It's not like, you drive for 3 minutes and then you start coming down or something. It's like, many, many square miles big. It's huge. Wow. So we want to go back there.
Wow. So how long does it take you to drive up to the very top before it's all flat?
Yeah, a while. At least, I don't know, 40, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know.
Is it windy roads? Because I don't like windy roads.
It's not that bad. It's nothing too steep or too windy. It just takes a while because, you can't. You have to sort of snake back and forth to get up there, but it's not a big deal.
And when you're up the top, can you clearly tell that you're still on a mountain, or does it feel like you're on flat land and you can't really see where the edge is?
Yeah, it feels like you're on flat land, and though you are much higher, like I said, thousands of feet above the surrounding area.
Is there any wild animals to contend with?
Oh, yeah. No, it's like the nature there is amazing. Like the trees and the, it just feels like remote nature, and there's all animals. Oh, there's some wonderful, gorgeous lakes. We stopped, we took a lot of pictures, and there's a lot of hiking. It's just one of those places that it just feels like you're 100% in nature, Oh,
I love that.
Yeah.
That would be so lovely. And you could hug a tree, because they're trying to get everyone now, still with this COVID stuff that's going on. They're saying instead of hug someone, if you're missing hugging people, go up to a tree and hug it. But make sure that tree hasn't been hugged by 1,000 people before you, which is pretty funny.
Geez.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I just heard it the other day on the news, and I just thought, oh, God. Can your virus stick to a tree? I don't think so. Unless you're coughing all over the tree.
No, it can. I mean, the virus can live for a little while on paper and plastic and stuff, but paper, I think it lasts 2 or 3, 4 days, but on plastic, it can actually be 7 or 8 or 9 days or something. So
maybe don't hug any trees.
Nah, you can go hug trees. Come on.
Hug trees and get cool.
Yeah, hug trees. Another place you can hug trees is in Crested Butte, Colorado, which is this awesome town. It's like right in the middle of Colorado, and it's like surrounded on 3 sides by huge mountains. Okay. And so like to get there, you have to get there from the south. So anyway, it's very remote, but it's a small city. And
Crested Butte.
They do a lot of skiing there. There's a bunch of mountains with ski slopes, and apparently there's a hike from there over towards Aspen, Colorado.
Oh, Aspen. And Aspen is really famous for skiing.
Yeah, Aspen has a bunch of ski slopes, and Aspen is like one of the most well-to-do cities in the country. It's really like to live there. You got to be rich.
Multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Australians that are really wealthy in Melbourne, I don't know, probably in Sydney and other cities as well, but they all go to Aspen to go skiing because they have the money, you know?
Yeah.
But is Crested Butte like the next best thing?
Well, no, Crested Butte is very different. Well, different enough. I mean, Aspen is like a thing unto itself. It's a
gotcha.
Really cool place, nestled right in the mountains, and the vibe is really cool and all that. But Crested Butte is just kind of like a small town because it's so remote. It's not a big town.
Okay.
But there's mountains all around it. We did some cross-country skiing there, which was kind of fun, even though cross-country skiing, it's one of those things that, like, I mean, I guess if you did it a few times a year, you might get good at it, but, like, we weren't, like, it's the first time we've done it. Well, first time I've done it in many, many years, 20, 25 years. So, like, you know, it was just hard for me. It was hard for my wife. And so we did some cross-country skiing, but yeah, and we weren't in the best of shape. Like, we're okay, but, like, you know, we're not like marathon runners and all that. So it was fun. We did some cross-country skiing. It was fun.
And what about, you know, with the cross-country skiing, you have to put your skis in tracks, don't you? And then you just follow the track?
Well, that's one way to do it. But what if you're the first one? Then there's no tracks. Yeah. So
I thought they created the tracks for cross-country skiers. I didn't realize that cross-country skiing, was just you skiing on ice.
No, I think it's both, right? I think it's both. Okay. If there's, I'm sure there are places where they literally, and it's probably even done by a machine. They probably drive a machine to create the tracks for your skis.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they do that in some places, but I'm sure, but where we were, it was almost like a trail. Like, cool. Think of a trail like, 10 feet wide, and just different people skiing on it, going both ways and stuff. And so there was no tracks, but it was still, pretty easy to
flat
do cross country skiing. Yeah.
As well.
And I actually dumped it. There was this one little hill. And my wife was coming down, and she when I say little hill, I'm literally talking like it was a drop of like 3 feet.
Oh, that's
over like a 10-foot space. So it was just like a tiny little hill, but I went down it and I got momentum, and I was coming up the other side, and I completely flipped on my back.
Oh, shit.
And it was like, we didn't get it on video, but it was the most epic flip over and literally land right on your back. But it didn't hurt because I was wearing a backpack and we had some water in there, so it was a little padded fall.
Padded fall into the yellow snow.
Oh.
Someone relieved themselves earlier, and there was Chris. Bang, straight into the yellow snow.
Yeah.
Oh, poor man. That's what happens. I mean, yeah, I've been told if the yellow snow is there, you go around it. Do not eat that snow. Oh,
jeez.
Oh, jeez. So other than Crested Butte, as in like little towns, is there any other little towns maybe that are a great little day trip or a...
Oh, there's probably a million. I mean, we've visited some, but I don't remember all the names.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. You probably only remember the places that, are supposed to be remembered, for things like the 3-foot fall and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a spiritual retreat center up in northern Colorado. I forget the name of it, but we went there. We stayed one night there just to check it out.
That'd be cool. I was going to ask you, Chris, with Colorado, do they have any foods or drinks that are specific to Colorado? Do you know what I mean? Like how states have different foods or different sandwiches or different drinks that are specific to that state or that city?
I don't know. Nothing comes to mind, although I'm not a drink and food connoisseur. I mean, what people know is I think the Coors Brewery is in Denver, and they've always said like Coors beer, like that. Even growing up, all the commercials they say, Golden, Colorado, which is right. It's like an outskirts of Denver.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I mean, we don't drink anyway, so that's the only thing I can think of in terms of food and drink.
Fair enough. You just breathe audio, and you eat something else.
Yeah, and you know what? If I was challenged, maybe I could. Probably my wife. Maybe we could come up with a dish that's specific to Colorado. We'll call it the Chris Curran Colorado noodles or something. You know what I mean?
Yum. It would be very salty. It would be delicious. It would have umami.
Yeah, buttery, real nice I don't know.
Buttery. Yum, yum, yum. And what about getting around Colorado or Denver or the state of Colorado? Is it pretty easy to drive?
Oh, yeah. It's like any other state. All the roads are good. Everything's fine. Yeah, you go wherever you want. Easy.
What about if you're not from the US and you're a traveler? Someone from Australia, for instance, that drives on the left-hand side, which is the right-hand side for you.
Well, that's a driving issue that actually would apply anywhere in the United States or any country that drives on the right. I think of India. I've been to India many times, and So the way they drive in India, I could never drive there. Like it's like so different than driving in the US. And not only because they drive on the opposite side of the road, but like all the rules, like it's just weird. It's just it's like mayhem. And I know if someone asked me, here, drive this car down this street in India, I'd be like, no, I don't want to do it. I mean, of course I would try it. I could try, but I don't even want to because I don't know the rules. I don't know anything. So if you're going to come to the USA and you don't really know how to drive that good and stuff, then just be careful. Either maybe hire someone to do the driving for you.
Or drive from South Beach in Miami all the way down to Key West, like I did.
There you go. Do that.
Also, Chris, before I move on to some last questions, I was going to also ask you, is Colorado famous for anything?
I think we have the most 14ers. So the most mountains that are above 14,000 feet.
14er.
Yeah. So any mountain that's 14,000 feet plus, we call a 14er, and I think there's 56 of them in Colorado. And I think that's the most in any U.S. state. Except for Alaska. Well, no, I don't know. I'm confused. But so in Colorado, there's no mountains that are above 15,000 feet. Okay, so they're all the highest mountains here are in the 14,000s. Alaska's different. Alaska has plenty of 15ers, 16ers, and even Denali is 20,000 plus feet. So, but anyway, the average Colorado has the highest average elevation.
Oh,
does it? So, yeah, I don't know what that means.
The hilliest. So pretty much, it's one of the hilliest, highest places in America. And you know what else you got there? You got a cannabis producer called Seed and Smith that do tours of their factory. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, I think there's a lot of cannabis stuff going on here, but I'm not in touch with that area of life. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see you though smoking dope, relaxing on your channel, having a puff.
I mean, in my youth, there may or may not have been some partaking, but but these days, I'm too busy.
You're too busy, eh? You're too busy with the Mediate for Chris and helping people with their crappy audio and trying to run a school. You're a very busy guy.
A little busy, but not too busy, but yeah.
Actually, talking about busy, do you miss the days of mastering tracks in New York and doing stuff with
music?
Jeff Buckley? Yeah, music.
Yeah,
playing drums.
I do actually. So I worked in the big studios in the mid 90s, which was great. And since then I haven't worked on any big name projects, although I had, produced some bands and recorded my own bands and stuff. So, but I haven't done any music in a long time. And I'm very soon, I'm going to find somebody, a band, and I'm going to offer to mix one of their songs. And I'm just going to say, look, send me the tracks. I just need a song to practice on. Like, I really want to practice mixing again. So I don't know. I'll do that soon. And hopefully I'll find a cool band with a cool song. That'd be fun.
Well, I got thousands of cool songs. I gotta just record them all because I've been playing music and writing songs since I was like 14.
Okay.
I got like 6 electric guitars behind me.
Record your hit song and I'll mix it.
All right, done.
Or I'll take a stab at it.
I'll try and because I got a bass here as well.
Oh, cool!
And I got amps in this room. I got pedals. I do double delay pedal when I'm playing electric guitar because I like the sound of the double delay.
Yeah,
I've set it up that way. It sounds so good.
Yeah, delay is one of those things. That's the thing. That's the process. That's the processor I miss the most because you don't use any delays in podcasting at all. But in music, oh my God, there's so many cool ways. Not only on guitars, of course, vocals. Are you kidding me? And then you got drums, you got stereo stuff, you got all kinds of widening tricks. I mean, there's so many cool tricks with delay.
Wow, I'm so gonna try and record some audio of me singing on my electric guitar. Maybe do a bass line. The only thing I've got missing is a drum kit, but I can always like experiment with a drum set up in Logic Pro or something like that because you can do your drum plugins.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah, they don't sound good, the drum plugins.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I actually bought some expensive drum samples about 8-9 years ago. They're called Ocean Way drums, and like they were recorded at Ocean Way Studios, which is in California, which is a great room, and they recorded all these things, and you can. They really did it right, and it's amazing. It's amazing, all the timbral differences, because when you hit a drum hard and when you hit a drum softly, it's not only the volume that's different, it's the timbre. Yeah. So anyway,
absolutely.
For each drum, they did hundreds and hundreds of samples at different volumes and everything, hitting the rim of the drum, the center of the, more towards the center of the drum and everything. So anyway, I got some good drum samples, but the point about programming drums is it's actually not that easy to make it sound real, because if everything's quantized and everything is just tick, 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 like on a click track, it can sound okay, but it does not sound human, and it doesn't really groove as much as if a human was there grooving to it, right? So,
do you think then, talking about humans grooving or a drummer playing drums, do you think there is ever a point where you can hear a drummer just be slightly off beat, and that kind of isn't such a bad thing because it's human and he's not a bloody robot?
Yeah, it's called Listen to Led Zeppelin. That's what that is.
Oh, really? So Led Zeppelin used to do it a little bit. Well, their drummer.
No. Their drummer, he's regarded as one of the best drummers ever, but he never plays perfectly. There's always groove. He speeds up a little bit sometimes, or he slows down a little bit sometimes. Like it's an organic thing. Whereas these days, if someone was to slow down or speed up on the drums these days, they would immediately quantize it and remove that, and everything would be tick, 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 tick. It'd be perfect. The problem with perfect is it sucks. It doesn't sound good. There's no life in it. There's no groove. And that's why pop music in general for the last 20 years approximately is horrible. It's just there's
shit.
It's so dead. It's dead in terms of the tempo and the groove and the beat. And I'm not saying there's not songs that groove. Some songs still groove, but that when you really dive into groove and drumming and percussion, if you listen to Led Zeppelin, you hear that groove. In fact, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Rick Beato. Rick Beato, Beato. He took a Led Zeppelin song and he quantized it, so it's perfectly in time.
Oh,
and then he played it back, and it sounds terrible.
Oh, really?
Oh, it sounds awful.
Really?
Oh, it just sounds. It's dead. He killed it. It's dead. It sounds terrible.
Killed Led Zeppelin.
Bland. Like, ugh. Wow. It's just ugh.
Jeez. Yeah. Do you know the band Dinosaur Jr.?
I've heard of them, but I don't know anything from them.
Well,
Unless they had a hit
I love
song
the drumming in that. Oh, not really.
Okay.
And Le Savy Fav, they're really good. I love the drumming in that. But there's a few bands that I like, and I mainly only listen to indie alternative music anyway. So, yeah, I guess the drummers that I listen to won't be exactly in time either, and they'll slow up and slow down, slow up and slow up. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't
up,
like.
Slow down.
Yeah. I don't like modern music either. I just find it so, I don't know, digital to a point where it's just too perfect. It's really disgusting.
Yeah, it's just bland. It's like it doesn't. It's like you can eat some good food, but if it's totally bland, it's like, all right, it's okay, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that chocolate ice cream, it's very tasty. Tastes like chocolate. But yeah, I've had this chocolate ice cream many times before. And then you're like, that chocolate's got a little bit of ginger in it. Ooh, and a little bit of cardamom. That's a bit strange. I don't like it, but I do. Weird. Hello. Final questions, Chris. So, Chris, if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you like to be?
That's a tough question. I mean, I have a bunch of places I'd like to go. I've never been to Ireland, so I don't know. Yeah. Let's go to Ireland.
Our spiritual home, Chris.
Yeah, but the only thing that stinks about, the only thing that's going to stink about me going to Ireland is that my favorite beer forever was Murphy's Irish Stout. And I haven't drank alcohol in many, many years. So, and I don't plan on it. So when I go to Ireland and I go to, I believe it's brewed in Cork, I think.
In Cork.
Anyway,
Ireland.
I might be wrong, but anyway, I'm not going to be able to take, they always tell you, if you really want the best Irish Stout, you got to go to Ireland and drink it where they make it. And I'm never going to be able to taste that.
And drink it warm too.
Exactly. But I'll live. But
yeah. Hey, can you tell me why you don't drink anymore? Is there a reason you don't really want to talk about it?
No, I can tell you. It's fine. Public knowledge. All right. So back in around 2001 and 2002, my life had gotten really, really, it became a mess. I really drove myself right into the ground. I had no job. I had no car. I had no place to live. Had no money. Living in my friend's basement, and I ended up having that moment that some people have where it's like, dude, what am I doing? Like, this is terrible. So anyway, I got my life together, and part of getting my life together was I started a meditation practice, and it was a practice that teaches a simplified form of Raja Yoga, which is one of the main four. It's one of the four original branches of yoga from India. And of course, yoga, everyone thinks, yoga, it means you have to twist your legs and you have to become a human pretzel and do all these poses. That's not what some yoga does that, but other yoga doesn't. The one that I was practicing was yoga of the mind. Okay. And because yoga, if people who don't know, the word yoga means union. So union of what? Well, it's the union of the individual with that of the universal. Sort of merging back into the divine. That's the idea of yoga. That's the original meaning of yoga. All this stuff with stretching and poses and all that, that's just That's a modern, stupid American thing, honestly. Which is fine if people like it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just delineating the different types of yoga. Okay, so anyway, I started the meditation practice, and I started the practice, and the next day, I tried to meditate at home like I was supposed to, but what I did is when I came home from work that day, I drank a beer or two, and then I sat down and tried to meditate, and I couldn't do it. It wasn't working, and I was like, why isn't this working? Something's wrong. So I went back to my meditation teacher, and I asked him, I said, how does alcohol fit into this meditation practice? And he explained to me that actually alcohol, it kind of negates the effect of meditation. So it actually, alcohol overrides the meditative state. So like if you drink, then you just lose that state. It's just not there. And that's all he said. He didn't say anything else. He didn't tell me anything. 7 weeks later, I realized that I had not had any beer or any alcohol in 7 weeks. And I literally didn't know it until 7 weeks later. And I was like, wait a minute, is this possible? Like I didn't even think about it for 7 weeks. And I was shocked. Wow. I was like literally shocked. I'm like, how could I go 7 weeks without drinking anything? And I didn't even notice until right now. And I mean, not that I drank too much, but I drank, at least 3-4 times a week, let's say. I don't know, just whatever average. So going 7 weeks was like, oh my God. And that's it. And I never drank again. And I never even really made a big decision that, okay, I'm going to stop drinking. I never did that. It just sort of stopped because of my meditation practice. And there's reasons for that. There's a cleaning part of the meditation practice where you clean all your past impressions or habits, and you do it in a general way. And so anyway, so part of the spiritual practice I was on sort of cleaned that out. And then I just never had the urge to drink ever again.
That's a really cool story, Chris. Thanks for sharing it.
Sure.
Good on you, pal. That's really amazing. I wish I could stop drinking. Stop drinking to a point, because I do enjoy the old beer and whiskey. Whiskey being my favorite beverage of choice. I know, I'm a big whiskey drinker, Chris. So if you ever come to Melbourne, mate, you're going to be an alcoholic with me.
Okay.
Nah, just kidding. You'll be on water. Talking about actually drinking and eating, Chris, what would you be eating or drinking if
I went to Ireland?
Ireland, or in general, what would you... say Ireland. Yeah, okay, Ireland.
So here's the thing. I'm easygoing, actually, and although I'm actually vegetarian, but I'm not vegan. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing happened with eating meat that happened with the alcohol. It just went away. Like I just stopped doing it, and I don't know why. But so I'm not like this crazy vegan who's yelling at everyone to stop killing animals. That's not me at all. So, but I'm easygoing. Like wherever I go, I mean, as long as there's good fresh food, I'm fine. I'm not like a big food kind of guy either. I'm a simple kind of guy. So eating and drinking is not. I'm not focusing on what I'm gonna eat on vacation and stuff. Like I don't even think about that. I'm just like, give me something to eat that's good, and I'm happy. So
fair enough. And what's your favorite country and or city, or both?
That I've been to. Well, can I say a state?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
I'm going to say Alaska. Our trip to Alaska was eye-opening, like for real. Because
really?
I wasn't expecting because the Alaska is so. We were talking about how big it is, right? Yeah. But there's like so few people there. It's like, it really is, it's still nature. That's what it feels like. I mean, there are cities. Anchorage, there's a few cities, but they're fairly small. And that's it. Other than that, there's just towns and there's not many people. And the more north you go, the less people there are. But I don't know, something about Alaska, it just felt really cool. Like you're in nature and you're, I don't know how to describe that, but that's the feeling we got, and we really loved that.
Maybe you felt like a bit of release there, a little bit of tension go away. Maybe it was some way it made you feel.
Yes, definitely was. Definitely. And I think one of the reasons was the vastness of like how big Alaska is. I think John Krakauer said that. He wrote a book.
Into the Wild?
Well, he wrote Into the Wild. Right. He was talking about that. But the other book he wrote about Everest was his favorite book.
Yes, Into Thin Air, right?
Into Thin Air. Dude, that book
amazing.
Oh my God. Anyway,
geez.
he was giving an interview, and this is before I went to Alaska. And he said, look, you can go to Colorado, you can go to Montana, you can go see some big mountains in the lower 48 states. But he said, when you go to Alaska, it's big on an entirely different level. It's just big. It's just, I don't know how else to explain it. The scope of size is just much bigger, and it's so cool.
I think what he's trying to say is that it's just so big because of the population. There's not many people there. There's not many towns, and there's just so much open space, just like the middle of Australia. That's hugely vast because nothing's inside it. So all the states and cities of Australia are pretty much all on our outer edge, and nothing's in the middle, nearly. It's crazy. So maybe that's where he's coming from.
That's one of the ways where I think he did mean that in part, but I think another part is just the mountains. Like when we drove past Denali, and we saw Denali through the clouds. I'm telling you, it was cloudy, and someone said, "Oh, there's like." Anyway, oh my God, I'm so excited I can't talk. We took this big bus trip out towards Denali. And it was cloudy the entire time, and all these big mountains were there, and we're on this bus, and we keep saying, look at that mountain. Is that Denali? And the bus driver's like, no, that's not it. And we're like, look at that one. That one's huge. Is that Denali? And the guy's like, no way, that's not it. And we're like, well, where is it? And how big is it? Anyway, we got to the end. We turned around, and literally, this is a 92-mile trip. You go out 92 miles on a bus and back 92 miles. We started back, and within the first mile or two, someone yelled, there it is. And I looked out the window, and it was cloudy. And I'm like, where is it? Where is it? And then I looked up. There was like a break in the clouds, like up, like at a 30, 40 degree angle up. And way up there was the peak. You could see the peak of Denali. It was the biggest monstrosity of a mountain I've ever seen. It was so awe-inspiring. Wow. I couldn't believe that was like, I was almost, it felt like I was looking straight up, and this mountain was like at least 10 or 20 miles away. And I was like, oh my God, it was so big. I couldn't believe it. Like I was in awe. I was like, I couldn't even process it. I got one decent picture that showed that. So,
and you haven't gone back to climb it?
Oh no, but I know a guy who did. Tom Fabri, this guy Tom did it. He's so far I think he's climbed 6 out of the 7 highest peaks on the 7 continents. So his last one is Everest. I don't know if he's done it yet. Hopefully he can do it soon, because I don't think he's getting any younger. But he's a really cool guy, and he climbed the highest. Again, his goal was to climb the highest peak on every continent, and so for North America. Wow. Denali is the highest peak, and so he did climb Denali. He said it was pretty difficult, but climbing a 20,000 foot mountain, I don't think I'll ever do that in my lifetime. That's way different than a 14er. Way different.
How well do you know Tom?
I haven't talked to him in years. I met him back when I probably 2013 in New Jersey. He came to our studio and was on my podcast. And I interviewed him a little while later too, but I don't know him that well, but he's an author and a speaker and stuff.
Do you reckon I could get him on my podcast to talk about the highest peaks on every continent, maybe, or him climbing them? That would be amazing.
Yeah, find him.
To talk
it's
to
Tom
him
Fabri, Fabri. Tom Fabri.
Fabri.
Just find him and approach him and invite him and say, hey. Just tell him, hey, Chris Curran, you were on Chris Curran's show a while back, and he said you were awesome. Whatever.
So which show was he on?
It was a show called Wisdom Trackers, which I did with my friend, which it doesn't exist anymore, and it's not there. You won't find it.
So I can't find it online.
No, I don't think it's anywhere. Yeah? I deleted all that stuff. Yeah, I had a falling out with the guy. The guy
fair enough.
Took a bunch of money from me. So
oh god.
I nuked that show. I think I did anyway. It's been a while.
You'd be surprised though, Chris. It might still be around on the interwebs.
It might be. I don't care. It's not a big deal. I don't really care, but it's whatever. It's all good. I'm not holding any grudges. I'm all good.
You make me want to go to Alaska now, Chris. After me reading and watching the film Into the Wild, I really want to see Alaska. And I want to go to Denali just to check it out. Oh my God, I'm so excited now.
There's this little town nearby. It's a little town called Talkeetna. Talkeetna. It's like the staging area for people who are going to climb Denali. That's where they stay. And it's this really small, little quaint town.
Like base camp nearly? Talkeetna?
No, it's not a base camp. No. It's not that close to Denali, but it's like one of the nearest towns. Okay. But it's not close. It's just one of the nearest towns.
But you could base yourself there if you wanted to go up Denali or at least start your travels there.
Well, like when they arrived in Alaska and they took probably a day or 2 or 3 to gather their supplies and everything, that's where they were probably. But once it's time to climb the mountain, then they're going to go climb the mountain, right? So
gotcha. Yep. And I'm guessing that mountain to climb would be difficult considering it is 20,000 plus.
I think it is. I don't know if it's one of the most difficult in the world, but I mean, so here's the thing. When you're climbing any mountain that tall, there's so much involved, and the weather. Like if the weather turns bad, true. You ain't climbing the mountain. I don't care. True. I don't care if it's 1,000-foot mountain. If the weather ain't good and you're not climbing it. So anyway, we're always dependent on the weather, right?
Yeah. What happens if the mountain has static electricity that's shocking your skin? You keep climbing.
Dude.
Oh my God. And Chris, what country or city has surprised you the most?
I would say India.
Okay.
In a sense that when I first went to India, which was 2004.
Yeah.
I had never been. Had I ever been out of the country? I don't think so. No.
Don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Barry knows.
No, I'd never been out of the country. And so I went to India and I was, and this happens to all Westerners, especially Americans, when they go to somewhere like India. Well, I could speak for India, but I think it happens in China and other places in the East. There's an immediate realization like, oh my God, the way that the people in this country live is so different from where we live. And in terms of India specifically, it's like, I mean, I guess technically India is still a third world country. Is that correct? Or am I wrong? Or am I dreaming? But anyway, it feels like a third world country.
Yes. Underdeveloped, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Underdeveloped. That's a good, thank you. Okay. It's like so many things that we just take for granted here in the West, especially in America. It's just not there in India. Like just to find a computer to log onto the internet, it's so hard.
Would have been impossible back then.
Just the bathrooms. Even the I don't know if you've ever used a bathroom in India, but there's no toilet. There's like a hole in the ground.
I haven't been to India, but it is a place I really want to go to.
What I'm saying is there's a whole other way to go to the bathroom, and you have to learn that. And it's like, it's weird because you got to use your hands and all that. I'm just saying, it's like really weird. And so I was pretty surprised by how people live in India. And one of the times, I think it was in 2007 or 2008, I actually went on a 2-month trip. Most of it was in India, but 2 weeks of it was in Dubai. And when I got back, the first 2 weeks were in Dubai, and then the next 6 weeks were in India. When I got back from that trip, and I literally, we lived in an apartment in New Jersey back then. When I went into the apartment in New Jersey, and I went into the bathroom, and I literally stood there, and I got emotional in the bathroom because I couldn't believe the luxury in that bath. There was a toilet, there was running water right there, and what I'm saying is I was so happy to have a normal bathroom that I literally almost got emotional. And that just tells you how difficult it is for a Westerner to go to India and live that way for 2 months. It's not easy. And it's really because we're spoiled in America. I'm not saying it's not particularly difficult living conditions. It's just different and like you said, underdeveloped. But in America, we're so spoiled with everything. And so I came back with an appreciation that we have it so good in America. Like we never really actually consider that or realize that. That's why when me and my wife, we see all these young people out there trying to, share their voice politically, and they're saying all this stupid stuff. Usually they're way on the left and they're just talking idiotic stuff, which they don't know anything about. Yeah. Me and my wife always say that young people in America, it should be mandatory that they go live in an Eastern country for 6 months and then come back to America.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Because all these young people, they whine and cry about how bad everything is. Hey, go over there for 2 months or 6 months. Go over there, live for 6 months. Trust me, you'll come back to America and you'll be like, oh my God, this is literally almost heaven. And then you'll appreciate it. Yeah.
That would be really cool. It'd be very good for the young people also of Australia, just to get out of Australia and live somewhere else, somewhere less developed than Australia. I think they would really open up their minds and their eyes, and they would see that what they've got here and what the American kids have in America is really good. We're very lucky. We're very, very lucky. And, people just don't get it, how lucky we are.
Yeah.
Or how lucky
they just
they
don't
are.
know.
No, they don't know. But yeah, that would be really good when you become president of the United States of America, Chris. Put it in, sir. Put it in the contract.
I should run. I'm going to run. Oh, you said Constitution. I thought you said another word that rhymes with that. It begins with a P.
Oh. Is that what you had in India?
Oh!
After eating curries?
No.
Or was it runny?
Jeez.
All right. You would have made a mess.
I think we're almost done. I actually have to do a live stream in 10 minutes.
Can I ask you a question, just a 2-second question? Because I'll add this to the podcast too, but I would love to know someone's podcast that you would love to edit and fix. A celebrity's podcast that you would love to edit or fix. I just thought about the question while I was talking to you.
Oh, God. Okay, so everybody knows Gary V, and I once... Sometimes I start watching some of his YouTube videos and then I'll like binge on Gary V for like 3 days, and then I won't watch another one or listen to anything else from him for like a year. Yeah. But I like his attitude. But anyway, he was putting out an audio podcast, and I was like, hey, let me check it out. And the audio on this one episode, the first episode I listened to, was so bad. I literally constructed this whole email. I literally was going to email them and be like, look, I can help. Please let me help. Please.
Gary.
Listed all the things wrong with their show, and then anyway, I never sent it because that kind of thing is never received properly. Yeah. And so I said, you know what? No one cares. They don't care, and no one cares. And if I say anything like that, they're just going to hate me. So I'm not going to say anything. But anyway, that's the only thing I heard that was so bad that I would like to help there, but other than that, I mean, there's a lot of shows that are just terrible. It usually has to do with the dynamic range because they don't use compression or anything. So people get real loud, and then you got to turn down your volume, and then they start whispering, and you can't hear them, and you're riding the volume knob the whole time. It's a terrible experience. That's one of the worst things you can do. Anyway.
And that's experiences that you won't get on the Travelman podcast or Chris's podcast engineering show. So, Chris, I just want to say thanks a lot for joining me on the podcast today, bud.
Sure. Happy to be here, Ben. Great to have an awesome conversation with you.
Yeah. No, I had fun, mate. What's the best way, if someone wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Just the website, podcastengineeringschool.com. And you can contact me through there, and there's links there. That's one place, podcastengineeringschool.com.
And I've got all of Chris's links also in my show notes. And if you want to contact me, you know where to do it, www.travelmanpodcast.com, travelmanpodcast@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can listen to my podcast on every platform. Chris, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, buddy. Take care, and good luck with your live stream.
Take care, brother. You too, man.
All right. Yeah. All right, I'll start recording. But before I start recording, I was going to say we finished off talking about Grand Teton National Park and talking about the salt flats and sheep licking cars. I loved it. I was just that was making me laugh, that whole car licking, sheep licking thing. Yeah, it was the best.